Hello, this is Dr. Shane, and today we are talking about communication. We are talking about communication, but we're talking about it in a different way. So, couples come to me, we're in the situation room, and I'm going to give you a real live situation, right? Couples come to me and they talk about how do we fix our communication problem? And I'll say, well, what's the problem? And frequently, they start out the problem by saying, fix them. And the moment they say, fix them, the other person goes ballistic, right? And I'm like, I think that's our communication problem, is how we define it. So let's kind of talk about this in a real simple, practical way. So be honest with you. There are three ways to fix a communication problem. One is fix them, the other is fix us, and the third is just fix me. I got a good partner, we'll be fine. So, honestly, how many of you think when it comes to your communication problems, all we need to do is fix them? If so, type a one. How many of you think if when it comes to our communication problems, fix us? Type a two. How many of you think when it comes to a communication problem, all we need to do? I'm getting some feedback here, so let me try and figure out why. I think that's why. How many of you think if we have a communication problem, it's just fix me? So give yourself a three. What do you think the best answer is? Three. But two's a close second. Two's a close second. So let me tell you why. So, if you are in a challenge and you have a situation you are trying to communicate with your spouse, and your assumption is fix them, is never going to work. Especially if you communicate that. You may technically be right. Let's give you that benefit of the doubt. But let's talk about why it's not going to work. So the reason it's not going to work is when you say fix them, they're going to feel like you're attacking them. And you're going to feel like they're being defensive. Say that one more time. They're going to feel like you're attacking them and they're being defensive. And the reason is they see the problem differently. I guarantee you. People seldom say I'm doing something wrong and I'm just going to keep doing it anyways when the stakes are as high as our family. They usually think they're doing it right. So, talk about this a little further, right? So, couple comes in and they are trying to decide where to send their kid to high school. Where to send their kid to high school. One parent says they don't really care. They're completely uninvested in their kid going to college. I'm like, I said high school, I meant college. I'm like, ma'am, sir, you're saying that your spouse doesn't care where their kid goes to college? I'm like, you really are saying that? And they're like, yeah, they don't care about anything. And there's narcissists. I like, my first response is, and think about it, how many times have you guys called your spouses narcissists? I see people arriving. If you type a one in the browser, it should be fine in terms of letting you. It should be fine. I'm going to copy this link to the clipboard, and I am putting it in the chat. I'm putting it in the chat. I'm sorry. I added the link to the description. It should, if you click on that link, it should let me see who you are and you can respond. Otherwise, you could type a one or type your name and where you're from. So I said, ma'am, sir, if your spouse doesn't care where your kid goes to college, we got a bigger problem. So she says he doesn't care. I said to the guy, do you care about your kid going to college? He says, absolutely. Absolutely. He says, but he needs to decide what college he wants to go because he's going to have to be committed. If he wants to go to a 2-year, fine, I'll pay for it. If he wants to go to HBCU, I'll pay for that. If he wants to go to a public school, I'll pay for that. But Hey Tamika, how you doing? I want him to be responsible. I want him to be committed, so I want it to be his choice. I listen to to him. I say to the spouse, "Do you really think he doesn't care where he goes to college?" She's like, "No, he doesn't. He's putting it off on him." I said, "Well, sir, why are you letting him decide?" He says, "Because he needs to become a man, and he's going to take out part of the loan, so he needs to decide how he wants to spend his money. Because if he's not willing to invest in him, I'm not." And so they just have two different views. But my point is, and this is a situation that happens a lot, when people have two opposing views, the worst thing you could do is say that they're not working with you and they don't care about the topic. She cared. She just wanted to make sure he made the right decision. The husband did too. I said, "Sir, do you have a problem paying?" "Hey, how you doing, Iris?" She's like, "I don't have a problem paying at all. I don't have a problem paying at all." So I say to you, he was very invested in his kid going to school. Let me pivot this back to you. So you and your spouse, how many of you see things differently? How many of you have something right now that you and your spouse see something differently on? We should get a second car. We shouldn't get a second car. We should get a second car that's used versus a new second car. Or we should just replace your engine. How many of you do? I raise my hand because we all have things. So type in a 1. And you and your spouse see something different. I want you to do something that you normally don't do. They're not cheap necessarily because they want to get a used car. You're not necessarily wanting to blow money because you want a new car. You may want the warranty. So what I want you to do is figure out which one are you. Are you saying fix them? That's 1. Fix us, that's 2. Or are you saying fix me? So fix them would be you need to change the way you want to solve this problem. 2 is we need to change how we want to solve the problem. That means we need to hear each other out. 3 is I'll change. And the way I'm going to change is I'm going to ask you, why do you want to do it the way you want to do it? So I'm going to make this even simpler. So 93% of the time, if we start a conversation, let's say about what type of car to get, by criticizing the person's character, we're going to end up in an argument. So it's not going to work anyways. So if we can start out by saying, hey, really, I know you want to save money and you want to get a previously owned vehicle for that reason, but in today's market, 2 and 3, in today's market, used cars cost more than new cars, so let's just get a new car, plus we get the warranty. You probably can switch them. So anyways, I want you to think about a challenge. I want you to recognize if you start with a criticism, 93% of the time, you're going to end up in an argument anyways. I want you to listen and figure out what is their why. Are they saying they want to get a used car because they're cheap? Or are they saying they want to get a used car because of some other goal we need to accomplish? Hey, we're going to be buying a new house next year, so we need to have our income to debt ratio lower. Hey, do they want to get a new car because they just want to spend money? Or, boy, they want to get the warranty. So I want you to ask them their why, and then I want you to repeat what's good about their why. Yeah, babe, it's a great thing that you want to get us a car. We absolutely need a car. The question is, how are we going to do it? I do think we need the warranty because I'm going to be driving the car, and if that thing's side of the road, you're going to have to stop and come and get me because I'm not moving it. And I don't want something stuck by the side of the road. Yeah, babe, I want you to be safe. Anyways, so a lot of times couples have communication problems and they can't fix them. First, because they define them as the other person's problem and they don't take any ownership in it. Second is because they don't figure out the person's why. And third, they don't acknowledge that why. It's something that's probably best for you two as a couple. I know this is kind of long-winded, but I want you to stop. Play this over. It is an important way to start fixing your communication problems immediately. And yes, it works. Anyways, I'm Dr. Shane. I'm here Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays at noon. Monday, we could check in, and you could tell me whether or not this worked for you or not. and we can help you adjust it. But to communicate effectively, we first have to stop doing the things that cause us to miscommunicate. Make it a great day, and I will see you next week in the Situation Room, and we will help you resolve your situation if you present us one. So you can type one in the chat, and I will talk about it on Monday. Make it a great day.